Hi, I'm Bob Stagg, and I will get right here in the center of my son's camera. I've never seen any of his camera work for 50 years, but we still try. Denny, storyteller. Terry was a good storyteller, partly because he found stories good to tell. Sometimes fish stories. You can't be a good storyteller unless you have good stories to tell. Where did Terry get his stories? Not from the bar, sorry. Not from imagination. He got them from interviewing and observing. I watched him teach students to interview. His best questions did not seek information. They sought glimpses at the turmoil in the interviewee's mind. He looked for what the interviewee might least likely tell him. One of his favorite questions was, "What did you really mean by that?" He wasn't so much looking for the meaning of the last utterance, but for what the interviewee would do when realizing they were being challenged. He knew it's stressful when one needs quickly to find something plausible to say. Interviewees seldom resisted, as Carolyn said. Somehow they felt that Terry was on their side. They liked Terry. They could trust Terry. Many times they wanted to say something that Terry could use. Maybe the truth. Maybe something tied to story. How many of you remember Terry's license plate? No, not the last one, but the one before that. Anybody? It was XP8. Expiate. What does expiate mean? Guy knows. Atone. Atone. Pay up. Think of what you've done. Confess. Tell me your story. Expiate. Mean questions? I've told my share of mean questions. I sometimes think, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Terry didn't ask intimidating questions. Tough questions, yes. More likely asking for experience. Clarification. What did you really mean by that? They loved Terry. Told him secrets. Terry sometimes worked alongside Klaus Witz. He admired Klaus.
Yes.
Klaus had a kind of case study he called, or others called, portraiture, right? By repeated intensive questioning, Klaus could get pretty close to the essence of personality, the deeper values. Terry saw this kind of questioning not so much at getting at personality, but more at opening the door of personal stories. The most important stories to tell, or not to tell. Terry could get them to tell. Terry would sometimes liken research to fishing. How are you going to catch the big one? He saw fish as having moods, different places to hide. He was less interested in a hummingbird fish finder then a topographic map of the bottom, telling him where the fish might hide. What lure to use needed to match the mood of the fish. So the finding of story was looking for places that memory might hide. No, I'm wrong in my implication here. He wasn't implying that guilt is the rock behind which the story hides. Here's a bit from Terry's book, Being with the Dying. It's about Art, a taciturn, elderly man. Terry said, "When I finally got past being preoccupied visually with Art's behemoth physical frame, I discovered a handsome face graced by long hair, peppered gray, and lively gray eyes. His beard and mustache were trimmed, nails clean, and his personal hygiene was fine. Our teeter-totter chats began with a large man using guarded short sentences on one end, with a skinny man talking too much on the other. As the weeks went by, Art's sentences lengthened and mine shortened. He had a surprising willingness to share some of his carefully crafted views of the world. I learned he was a voracious reader. He was fascinated with space and time. Our conversations eventually ranged from how to tie an Adam's trout fly on a number 12 hook to an ignominious errant BM missing the mark in a small trailer. But all that and more still to come. It wasn't so much that the story was there for the telling. The story was there for the trolling.